Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all of you are safe and doing well. It is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, who is going to talk to us about acing internship, placement interviews, and on approaching off-campus opportunities. This is a subject in which we should all be deeply interested because our speaker has been guiding students like us by uploading his videos on his YouTube channel, notifying everyone through LinkedIn, organizing mock tests according to company patterns, and helping them achieve their goals. He has completed his BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, and currently is a senior software engineer at Samsung. He did his internship as a software engineer at Samsung and ISRO, and has also been a product manager intern at CodeChef. So guys, please join me in welcoming Arsh Goyal to Code Club Cummins College. The platform is all yours now, sir.
Thank you so much, Anushka, for such a great introduction. Just trying to present my screen. Let me know once it becomes visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Great. Right now, I hope it's completely visible, right?
Yes.
Great. So first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for sparing your time on this Saturday afternoon and being here for listening to me and listening to the talks that we are going to have. Basically, I want to make sure that this session is not boring, and I'll keep my deck very small. I'll be covering it very fast. These slides. I hope most of you will be aware of the things that I'll be telling in these slides, but still, if some of you are not aware, and I'll try to cover which are questions which are expected out of this conversation. So I'll try to cover most of them in this presentation, and I would like to interact more and more. Like your queries, your interaction. That is something that I'm looking forward to. That is going to make the session more and more productive. So make sure that you don't hesitate asking questions, as many questions as possible, and whatsoever doubts you have. So make sure you clear today. It's a great chance. So starting with the session with the PPT, and first, thank you so much, Ishwari and Anushka, for introducing me so well and having me here on this platform. I'm so obliged. Starting with the first with the presentation, I'll cover it quickly, and let's then move on to the Q&A. So, a brief about me. Currently, I'm working as a senior software engineer at Samsung. I had offers from other companies like Lowe's group of companies and American Express also for the full-time roles. I have done my software development engineering internship at companies like Samsung R&D Bangalore. I've also done an internship at Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. I did one internship at Petgrid. It was an international internship and majorly dealing with data science. And I did one internship with CodeChef. Also, I am the gold medalist at NIT Jalandhar with the highest CGPA bracket. And I run my YouTube channel by the name of Arsh Goyal, where I post content related to interview preparation, tech in general, opportunities, and a lot of things. Along with that, I keep putting content on LinkedIn, so you can check that out as well if you are looking forward to something. This is a screenshot of my YouTube channel. Currently, it's 33,000 people are there on this channel. Now it has grown to, I guess, close to 36, 37. So people have been getting benefited, and a lot of people, maybe some people from your college also, I have been in touch with and have been guiding them personally. So why this session, what, how, when, and why of placement? So basically in this session, we are going to discuss majorly about the things that are important from internal point of view, the things that are important from internships, placements point of view. So make sure you check this session and make sure that all the questions, all the doubts that you have in your mind, make sure to clear them. So what of placements, why of placements, how the procedure that is to be followed, which all resources to be followed, what all things are necessary for internships and placements, which all subjects to be followed, when of placement means what are the expected timelines, when should you go for on-campus placements, off-campus placement, what all things are necessary for both of them, whether there's any difference between them. So each and everything we are going to discuss about in this session. So pardon me for the wrong spellings of roadmap. Agenda for the day is going to be basically a bit of roadmap about the entire interview preparation journey. We'll talk about your projects, what type of questions can be asked from the projects, and how to handle those type of questions in the during the interviews. We'll talk about some the basic hiring process of major companies. What do they ask? What are the number of rounds they have, and what can you expect in those number of rounds? We'll also talk about off-campus placement. What are the methodologies you can get to know about those off-campus placements, and immediately all your doubts related to off-campus will be covered in that. Some interview skills, and at the end we'll be having a productive Q&A session that will clear almost all your doubts. Just before starting with, there is a small slide in which there is something written as Parampara Pratishtha Anusashan. So for making sure that you people are consistent while coding, I know there are times when you people are coding and you feel like stuck in something. You feel like that coding is not for me, and you feel like that the things are not going in the right direction. So at that point of time, you should have this thing in mind. You should, like, it's for all. It's not just you who are facing those difficulties. Basically, you need to be more consistent. You need to practice hard work, and at the end, the thing that matters is the thing that makes a person good at something is practice. So as much practice as possible is going to help you in the longer run. So make sure you follow these parampara pratishtha anushashan as consistency, hard work, and practice for in your journey of preparing for any company for placements for internships, right? So, giving a brief about what is required and what are the things you can expect in your interviews. So, the first and the most important thing is your programming language. So, one programming language generally expected to be an object-oriented programming language, maybe C++ or Java. You should be comfortable in one language at least. Next, once you're comfortable with that language, you practice more and more questions on data structural algorithms. We'll have a pathway of data structural algorithms also, like what all things are there in data structural algorithms, how you should make sure that you are aware of, like you follow a structured path for preparing for those data structural algorithms. We'll talk about core CS subjects, which all topics are important from those core CS subjects. We'll talk about projects and like what kind of projects you should make and what are the probable topics from those projects that are necessary. So we are going to talk about that as well, and like how to answer those questions while you are sitting in an interview. So all this thing we are going to mention about this particular thing. Next, we'll talk a bit about competitive programming and a bit about open source, like how it can help you grab good opportunities. So this session is going to be like, I'll be giving you information, so keep your head empty so as to fill as much information as possible, right? So what programming language to learn? So it is up to you. Like I do get a lot of queries on this, like should I go for Python, should I go for C++, should I go for Java or any other language? Like I'm comfortable in Python, should I continue my data structures in Python? So it is up to you. I'll not say that you go for this language or that language. It is up to you, but preferably go for C++ or Java. Because why I'm saying C++ or Java? Because there are a lot of resources in C++ and Java that are available. And like, let's suppose you are stuck at any point of time and you're not able to proceed with that. So you will be having a blog post on in C++ and Java for its explanation. You will be having a video tutorial nowadays also for C++. Like you fill any question's name on YouTube and you will be getting its solution in 3-4 languages along with 3-4 different explanations. Also, you will be getting different blog posts and written articles on that same. So the content that is available currently is more on C++ and Java side. So that's why we say that C++ and Java are preferable. Moreover, you should clear the basics and make sure that comes naturally to you. So fundamentals of programming language, like if somebody tells you the logic, so you should be able to write the code. So that thing is very necessary. Like it's not that you are solving very tough problems, but make sure that you are able to code them. It's not just the logic, but make sure you're comfortable with how to code the thing. So if somebody tells you a logic, you should be able to write the code for it, right? So because that's not going to help if you know the logic also and still you're not able to code that thing. So make sure these fundamentals are clear, like everything. Maybe if you're not comfortable in some particular library, some particular like people are like when we are beginning with the thing, people are not comfortable with the concept of loops also. So make sure these things are pretty clear and then you move forward. Right? And the last thing was practice, practice, practice. Make sure you practice these things well and the things are in your favor. Next, path to DSL goes. So basically, when we say DSL goes, so this is one of the major important part in any interview or any online coding test. So around, I would say, 70 to 80% of your interviews and your placement process is based upon DSL goes. Apparently, uh, you see what is the structured path, like what all things are necessary when we say DSLO. So firstly, real world analogies and need for optimization. Why we are studying DSLOs? Like every question can be solved without DSLOs also. You can apply a brute force approach and definitely you will be at some point of where you can solve that question maybe, but the complexity would be NQ or even higher than that. So the major idea behind using DSLOs is how, like, in the entire world, what exactly we are doing. We are working upon something so as to do that thing in less time and less memory and less cost. So we are working upon the same. DSLOs was built. We are working upon DSLOs so as to optimize the things as efficiently as possible. Make sure you implement basic operations on each data structures like stacks, like arrays, like linked lists. Along with that, dictionary operations, traversals on each DS. Like uh, you should be able to code these fundamentals like insertion in an array, insertion, deletion, searching. So these are the basic operations that you should be aware of, and all these data structures, like when you are learning about stacks, views, linked lists for the first time, so you should be sure about these traversals at least for once. Uh, why, like in Python there are a lot of inbuilt functions and inbuilt libraries. So once you're comfortable working with Python, so the thing is you might not be able to code that simple thing. So if somebody who is working with Python, so he might not have written the code for sorting in his entire life. So there are a lot of like you might not be aware of how what the internal of a stack is, or how you can implement a stack using array, how you can implement it using linked list or any other data structure. So make sure these things you have practiced while starting off. Sorry. Next, make sure you're comfortable with standard algorithms of searching, selection, and sorting, because the basis of solving any questions are these three things: searching, selection, and sorting. Because like in almost I would say many of the questions you will find you are using these in some form or the another. Then once you're comfortable with all data structures starting from arrays, linked lists, stacks, views, heaps, hashing, graphs, trees, everything once it is covered, so then move on to algorithm design techniques. And these algorithm design techniques are something that are going to actually help you while solving those questions in a much better way, right? So these approaches, like you all might be aware of if you're practicing, like two-pointer approach, binary search approach, sliding window, dynamic programming, repeat, bit masking, backtracking, number theory, basics, range queries, traversal based, say different these techniques, algorithm design techniques are necessary. And once you are done with all that, so you need to practice random questions from any source, lead code, GFT hampering. Now I'm mentioning random questions, but the variety of questions is so wide. So it depends upon you. Like make sure that you solve a variety of questions, not just going for starting from one first question of arrays and you say that I'll complete all the questions of arrays and then I'll move to the next one. That approach is also wrong. Make sure you uh, go for the variety, like not exactly solving all questions from arrays or then all questions from stacks. So that is not going to help. Choose, make sure that all the techniques, all the algorithms for that particular data structures are covered, right? Next, talking about important computer science fundamentals. So there are a lot of CS subjects that you might be studying in your course, right? So these CS subjects include like computer architecture, web designing, graphics, like different subjects you study while you are studying in your college, right? So out of those CS fundamentals, what I would recommend is there are these four subjects that you should study with full focus while they are being taught in your college curriculum. Why? Because once you study these during the time when you're preparing for your college examinations, so it will be giving you two times. The benefits will be twice. Firstly, you will be getting good grades in your subjects during college. Next, you will be able to prepare these well. Like you just need one revision when you are preparing them for placement. So make sure you make your own notes while preparing these subjects, or a written material you should find that gives you a flexibility of understanding and reading it on your own whenever you need them. So make sure these subjects are well covered while being taught in your college only, and don't leave it for like placement के लिए अलग से पढ़ने के. So don't do that thing. Make sure that you study them well during your course curriculum, and you will be getting good grades in these subjects, along with their placement preparation would be become easier. So these subjects include OOPS, that is object-oriented programming skills, maybe in Java or C++. You should be aware about the properties, design patterns, principles, UML diagrams. So like different 4 or 5 concepts of OOPS, like polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, and all. So make sure you're comfortable ahead with all of their types. Like if I say polymorphism, there are 2 types of polymorphism. Then again, what is there in runtime polymorphism, compile time polymorphism, what are virtual functions, how to like what is the internal working of all of them. So these are some of the important questions when I say when it comes to OOPS in any interview. Next, operating system. After OOPS, the subject that comes into picture is operating system. So make sure you are aware of different techniques in operating systems like process and thread management, scheduling, synchronization, deadlocks, memory management, disk management. So these things are very necessary for OS. Like if you are comfortable in Hindi, so there are lectures by Gate Smashers. So I would recommend them. You can use them along. Like if you prefer reading, so there is a book known as Bedtime Stories for OS. So that book is also great. But I think you might be using Calvin for your college curriculum, so that is also something great. Make sure like study from the source from which you are comfortable in. So different people prefer reading, different people prefer watching videos. So make sure whatever suits you, you go for that, right? Next is DBMS. So DBMS also plays an important part. So DBMS, when I say DBMS, so you should be aware about relation algebra, ACN based properties. So basic theory of DBMS to be covered, and apart from that, your SQL queries that you might be asked. So practice SQL queries on sites like Interview, Lead Code. So at least you should be aware of the basic queries, even if you're sitting for internship. So this is also a very favorite topic of interviewers. Computer networks is not much asked in many companies, but for some companies like Amazon ask computer networks, Samsung ask computer networks, Cisco ask computer networks. So make sure for these companies you are aware of the basic concepts of computer networks, difference between OSI and TCP/IP models, different protocols, devices, UDP protocols. So all of these basics of computer network, what are the different layers like data link layer, network link. So what is the function of those layers? So make sure you are aware of these things when you're preparing for computer networks also. Now talking about your project, so like one portion of your interview is based upon how you have worked on large code bases. So they want to judge whether you are comfortable in working with large code bases or not. So there comes a part of working on different projects. So when I say project, so what type of questions can be asked from a project? So the first and the foremost question is like you have mentioned 2 to 3 projects in your resume. So the first question interviewer can ask is, please discuss your project in detail. So whenever you are discussing your project in detail, make sure you follow these 4 steps while explaining your project, right? Firstly, when you introduce the project, make sure you introduce the objective of the project, like why you started with the project. Was there any problem that was existing in the society, or how this idea of this project came into picture? And make sure that project has some objective why you are solving. Maybe you're improving the efficiency, maybe you're improving upon memory, maybe you're improving upon some, like maybe you're solving some societal problem, or maybe you are solving some problem of your own locality. So make sure you are clear with the objective of the project, why you are doing it. So make sure you explain that why in layman terms. Next, coming upon to the tech stacks that are there and what you have done. So make sure you mention about tech stacks that you have used in the project. That's the second thing. The third thing is make sure that you tell the interviewer that whether it was a group project or it was an individual project. If it was an individual project, what was your particular contribution? Whether you were working on front end, whether you were working on back end, database, anything that you are doing. So make sure you tell the interviewer and make sure that he's comfortable enough with that. Apart from that, the fourth thing is the future aspects of the project, like how you are going to scale your project in future. Like what are the consequences currently and how you are going to overcome them, or which all functionalities are you going to plan on for your project in future. So these 4 things or these 4 steps while explaining projects have been really very useful for people. Make sure you are comfortable enough to explain these things to the interviewer very efficiently, right? Next type of questions that can be asked are, what is the particular problem solved with the project? So basically you need to tell the objective and make sure your projects are a bit unique. When I say a bit unique, maybe let's say, this is also a very important question. Like people say, sir, I have made an Instagram clone. Sir, I have made a Twitter clone. Is it a good project? I wouldn't say that it is a good, something is a good project or a bad project. Like you are in your college years, so definitely everything that you do has a great significance because you're working upon something on your own. So when I say Instagram clone or Twitter clone, that is a good project, but make sure, but like Instagram already exists, right? So you should show ki you have good observation skills and you have good execution skills. So what you can mention in that Instagram clone is, sir, I have seen Instagram is already working, and I found out that these were some of the limitations, or these were some of the additional features that could have been there in Instagram. Like for example, maybe a parental log type of thing can be there for Instagram, or Instagram can be divided into maybe a different section of corporate, maybe a different section of students, maybe a different section of people under 18 years of age. So make sure that you do something that is not already present in Instagram. So your Instagram clone should be a little different from the already available Instagram, and it should be solving some purpose, and it should be something that that becomes the USP, right? So make sure that selling point that you're selling it to the interviewer. Basically, in those interviews, what you have to do is you will have to sell yourself only. How good you are at selling yourself, that is going to make a difference. Like people are there who are very good at coding, who have 3-star, who have 5-star, 6-star coding on code ratings on CodeChef and very good ratings on Codeforces, but they're not able to present themselves well. So make sure this selling yourself is also a skill. Even like I've seen people, they're not very good at coding skills, but they are able to sell themselves in the interview, and they're placed at very good companies. So make sure that you are able to present your thoughts in a well-structured way. And the best way to practice that is through mock interviews. Make sure once you are sitting for interviews, practice mock interviews with your friends, with your anybody whom you feel comfortable with, and ask them what all things you are doing wrong. So he or she is going to tell you how to improve upon that, and you can take his interview so that you can get to know from interviewer's perspective ki how, what I am expecting. Like I have taken a lot of interviews, mock interviews for different students. So make sure this, I have seen this thing works a lot, right? Next is what problems you have faced while making the project, how you tackled it, what you want to improve in this project further, which all library helped you implement a particular feature, which database you use and why. So make sure that you are comfortable enough with which all technologies you are using. So you should have question answers to these all technology, these all questions, like you are using SQL, you are using MongoDB, you are using Firebase as a database. So why only Firebase? Why only MongoDB? Why only SQL? Why not any other database? You're using Django for backend. Why not any other technology? Why not Node.js? So you should be aware of why your technology is best and why you're using that, rather than being confused at while sitting for the interviews, right? These are some of the questions from projects. Next is the different rounds of different companies, like hiring process of different companies. First round is a basic coding or MCQ round. For some companies, they're just coding questions that are being asked. For some companies, that's coding plus aptitude plus CS fundamentals MCQs. So there can be 2 to 3 coding questions from on any platform like HackerRank, HackerEarth. MCQs on aptitude, DBMS, SQL, computer networks you can expect in your hiring process. And these can be practiced well from sites like Geeks for Geeks, LeetCode, InterviewBit. For company specific preparation, you can go for Geeks for Geeks, LeetCode. Like if you're preparing for placements, so these 3 are the best sites. If you're into CP and if you like competitive programming, you can go for any of the sites. But if you're preparing particularly for major companies, Amazon, Microsoft, or any other company, so these sites are sufficient. And once you practice questions on them, so you will be able to solve most of the questions. Nowadays, online assessments are a little bit more trickier, so maybe you will have to solve some timed contest for that, so that you are well aware of how to solve those 3 questions in a span of 60 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes. So it all depends. Next is MCQs for aptitude. You can practice for from India Bits, and aptitude for CS fundamentals. Majorly the MCQs that appear in GATE previous year, so those can be practiced. You will be getting similar kind of questions that have been appeared in GATE for the previous years. I have done everything, but my dream company doesn't come to my college. So what to do even after preparing? Like this is for somebody who's in whose college companies don't come. But I believe like many of the companies visit women's college for placements. But still, if you are looking for off-campus placements, these are some of the resources, or this is something that you can follow for off-campus placement. Firstly, make sure you are aware of the career side of all the companies, like any of the companies that you're looking forward to be a part of. Make sure you visit the career site and which all opportunities are there. You can apply directly, or you can pick any of the job IDs and start pinging in people on LinkedIn. Preferably go for your college alumni because they are the ones who can give you the referral in one go, and you will not have to struggle a lot while fetching a referral. So make sure you are connected with some of the college alumni, and while messaging people on LinkedIn, don't just message a hi or a hello simply. Make sure you are like explaining the entire thing that you want from that person in that one single message. For example, so hi, this is Arsh. I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor of Technology. I'm currently in the final year of my college from your college name. I'm looking forward. I'm good at technical skills like data structure algorithms, one or two more things. I have good scores, ratings on CodeChef code courses. Have uh, I've worked at these companies during my internships, and I wish to pursue. I wish to join your company as a software engineer. There's an open position with the job ID. This I'm looking forward to a referral from you on this, and you can attach your resume along with. So this complete message you should send to a person in one go rather than just saying a hi or a hello, because that is going to delay your process for 3 or 4 days, and it is a burden for me also. Like, it is a burden for somebody whom you are asking for referral, because firstly he doesn't have time to, like, when you see when there's an opening for any company, you will find you will get hundreds of messages for referrals. So make sure you don't waste the time of the person whom you are messaging to. Make sure everything is conveyed in one single message, and if there is something else that that person wants, so he will convey it to you. Also, stay active on different social medias, like LinkedIn, not Snapchat or Instagram, but LinkedIn, because LinkedIn you can get to know about different companies. When are the companies hiring? Which all companies hiring for which all companies have internal hirings going on? When are the opportunities coming? So make sure you follow relevant people on LinkedIn for uh, on different social medias, and also make sure that you are connected with some people from different companies, because in some companies there is a policy of internal hiring. If some particular team is hiring, so directly you can get a chance to interview at that company once there is a vacancy for that particular team in that company, right? So in some cases, even online tests are also not conducted. Direct interview chance is given to you. So make sure you are comfortable enough with that. So these are some of the things for off-campus placement, but still there are more ways in which you can get to your dream position. Next is, at the last, having faith in you is the most important thing. Like, whatsoever I've spoken, the things are important, but still at the end, it should be that during your entire preparation journey, during your entire job hunt, internship hunt journey, make sure you believe in yourself, and at any point, don't feel disheartened, don't feel that you are doing something wrong. It's all just the time that is going to, like, everybody is going to get what's there, and it's fate or destiny. Make sure that you work towards it and make the things look good for you. I'm open to a Q&A session. If you people have any questions, doubts, you can let me know. And there are my Instagram, there are my handles on YouTube, on Instagram, or LinkedIn. You can connect with me there for any of your doubts or any of your queries that you might have. Thank you so much, everyone. It was lovely talking to you, and I'm looking forward to some questions if you have. Like, from my point of view, I've covered almost all the questions, all the queries that you people might have. But still, if you think that there is something missing, you can let me know, and we'll talk about that.
It was really great to hear to you, and like we got to know about all these things when we started our third year and were preparing for internships. The people present here are like mostly second year, so they are very lucky to get to know all of this from you, and so they so that they can apply these things in their applications that they put on forward.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Shweta.
yeah. So we are open for questions now. So we have some questions for you. So the first one being how to be consistent with practicing DSA. Like how should I build up my confidence and interest towards coding and avoid procrastination there?
Yeah. So majorly, what why we are not interested or something that demotivates us is basically when we start comparing us with others. Like comparing ourselves with others is a good thing. Like you should be. It's like the feeling of good competition comes only when you're comparing yourself with others. But the first thing is like if we are not comfortable with fundamentals, so I would stress upon making giving time to preparing your fundamentals. So that is actually going to help you in the longer run. So make sure you're comfortable enough with the fundamentals of programming. Give time to different data structures, different questions once you are studying, once you are practicing it for the very first time, rather than just simply moving upon to a very hard question and then feeling demotivated. So go slowly, make sure you give time, and that is actually going to help you in the longer run. And uh, even if you're not getting good results in the beginning, don't just get started, but make sure you're consistent enough. So that is going to help at the end, because I know people who were at the point who were struggling and saying, sir, this is not for me, I can't do coding, and now they're at very good companies. So basically, the thing that have pushed them is their consistency and the structured path that they're following, right? Yeah.
Okay, that was great. So the next question we have is when and which companies to approach for an internship if you're planning to do one in your second year. So after your second year, the summer.
Yeah. So you people might be seeing nowadays, like first of all, many of the big companies have come up with their programs for second year people. When you say Microsoft, so there's a program known as Microsoft Engage. When you say JP Morgan Chase, so they have their program for Code for Good. Flipkart has their program for Flipkart Runway, Flipkart Girls Wanna Code, and a lot more companies are coming up with their programs for second year people. But still, even if after all this you're not getting any internship, so make sure that you try for startups. I'll not say startups which will you can join to get because the time after your second year is very important for your internship preparation. So make sure that you are preparing for your internships during the time after your second year, and make sure that if you're doing an internship in some startup, so how you can approach a startup. So there are different theories, like there are different things how you can approach a startup, and startup should be some like the startup from which you are expecting a PPO, and you are willing to accept the PPO from that startup. So make sure you are doing your internship in that startup after second year. Else, I would recommend you, if you haven't got an internship in a good product-based companies from which you are not expecting PPO, so prepare for your internships well. You have a lot of opportunities once you start with your fifth semester, right? So when I say approaching a startup, so there can be different ways. So for example, some of the very good startups, like you look at their website or you look at how the site is operating, understand the principles behind how they're working upon, and find out how you can improve that particular startup, or you can improve their website, you can improve their payment gateway, you can improve anything from their site. Type in a mail to the founder, you are this and this, I'm currently studying in second year at Women's College, and I have been following your startup, I have been following your website, and I looked upon the website's page, and I found that these things can be improved. So once you mail them, like, and there is a very high chance that you will be getting a reply from that startup founder. And once you get the reply, like you can in that mail also you can mention, I would like to talk more about the same. So so definitely there are chances, good amount of chances. I'll not say that all will reply, but there are higher chances that you will be getting a reply. So in that reply, you can have a short meeting with that founder, and you can explain your point of view, what actually you're looking forward to, and then he'll always want you to work for the same if you are capable, and if you have those skills. Definitely you can ping in, and you can show your interest towards working at that company as an intern. This way also works, and I've seen people getting internships, like those who are not from CSID background, who are from mechanical background, who are from industrial production background, even they got internships at very good companies through this particular methodology. So this is something that can be followed if you're not getting much opportunities for second year as of now.
Okay, sir. And like some people also apply for research interns and stuff. So for that, we got to mail the professors. So could you please simplify the art of cold mailing for us?
Ah, uh, Research internships, like there can be 2 to 3 different things when I say research internships. Firstly, there are different IITs, different NITs. They have their own research programs, research internship programs. Like there's something known as Spark for IIT Roorkee. There's something known as, I'm not sure of the names. There's a program by IIT Delhi, also IIT Kanpur, also Kharagpur, also. So if you're interested in research, and you can be from any background, computer science, electronics, any background. So they open up their applications. If you're in your second year, then also you can apply. If you're in your third year, then also you can apply. And you should look forward to the projects that professors are working upon. Like on their website, you will see there are different professors listed and different projects that they're currently working on. Look forward to a project in which you feel you can contribute to, or like which is matching with your skill set. For example, some particular professor is working upon machine learning. So make sure if you are comfortable enough with machine learning and you feel that you can add inputs to that particular project. So you should put in a mail to that professor, sir, I am this and this, with your brief introduction. It's kind of a cover letter that you should write to him along with your CV or resume attached, and maybe a brief about what are your thoughts about that project in a separate, maybe you can attach in your resume file only, or maybe you can make 2 attachments, one for your resume and one separate doc, explaining your idea on how you can improve or how you can contribute to that project. And you mention about that I wish to pursue an internship under you for the coming summer. So there are high chances, like once, like these professors will reply to you from IITs. Like I have personally known people, like once you mail them, although you should follow up also. It's not like that just once you have mailed and you are done. No, uh, maybe once you have mailed, maybe if you can follow up after a week or 2 weeks, because these people are little busier and they might miss out those mails. So make sure you follow up. You can follow up twice, thrice, so that's okay. Once you're not getting after approaching them thrice, so then you can shift on to something else or somebody else. So these can be one model for getting a research internship in these institutes. Next is, if not these institutes, there are some companies that are offering research internships. There's a program by Adobe. Adobe has 2 types of interns. So one interns that they hire are known as product interns, and the second interns are known as research interns. Although the positions are very, very less for research interns, but there's special scholarship for girl students by Adobe that is known as WIT, that is Women in Technology. So make sure you apply for that. And there are different roles, like Microsoft is also having their research internship. Basically, this time they had they wanted to contribute to some GitHub repo with 100 plus stars, and then they'll have a discussion over that. So slowly and slowly this is evolving, and you might feel that these things will be coming up for research internships in future with these companies in the industry. But currently majorly institutions like IITs and NITs are more preferable for research internships.
Okay, sir. And as you said, look for an internship in a startups or anything where you can aim for an PPO. So during our internship period and before the internship, like some of us now have gotten an internship. So how should one prepare in the months before our intern for a smooth experience? And what should we do in our internship? Like, are there any soft skills that we should be aware of during our internship to get an PPO?
Yeah. So when I say when you get an internship, so you have around 7, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months before your internship is starting. So the things that you should keep in mind, like there's no particular skill that you should start learning, that like from the point of view that you will be getting that to work on that skill while you're internship. Because the projects that you will be assigned once you're into the internship will not be according to you, but they'll be assigned randomly, and you might need to work upon any technology. You'll have to learn that technology. So it's not about focusing upon any technology. I would say follow your passion, which all development skill that you have already learned, or if you wish to learn any other development skill, make sure you learn that skill. And nowadays, like, you have got a very good chance. Like, you're not in your college, you're not going to college, right? So you're at your homes, and you have a pretty good chance that you can pursue your internship now also. Like, you can start with an internship with a startup, and you will get hands-on working upon one or two developments. So, like, uh, the people whom I know are my juniors who are there in my college. So I've advised them that they can, like, they have got internships in their companies which they'll be doing in May or June next year. But now also they have started working with some or the other startup, because they'll get to understand these basic tools and terminologies that they should be knowing while going for an internship, like how to use GitHub, how to push your project, which all things are necessary, what are the internal tools of that company. So you need to understand those terminologies, that can you can get to understand them well once you have worked in any organization. So make sure, like, if you are comfortable enough that you can manage your college along with an internship sitting at your home, and it's not very difficult, I would say. Like, nowadays you have a lot of time, so it's not at all difficult. You can manage your internship with any startup, maybe work for 2 months. If you don't like, you can leave. If you think that you're not able to manage, you can leave, but try for getting an internship in a startup. You will get a good experience, and that experience is going to help you uh, make your internship experience better with that company in the coming summer. That's one thing. During the internship also, like, make sure you are well connected with your manager, you are interacting with your manager from time to time. Feedback is also very important. Make sure you are taking regular feedbacks on what has been your progress or anything that you need to improve upon. So make sure you focus upon these points while during your internships, and that is going to help in a longer run.
Okay, great. Sir, we also had a question on how should be my profile for applying for fellowship programs now, like the MLH results are out. So how should I what should like an ideal profile look for fellowship programs?
So for a fellowship program, they look for the overall individual. They don't look for whether you are just good at tech or something. So the 3 or 4 things that I would say that you should be good at. First is uh, you should be good at your technical skills. That's the number one thing. You should be good at any one skill, maybe any one development skills, and you should have. Secondly, you should have some good projects in your resume. That's the second thing. Third thing is you should have some contributions, open source contributions or community contributions. And fourth thing is you should be connected to people, and you should be a person who has worked for the community, who has participated in these programs previously, who has been a part of organizing some events, who has been a part of organizing hackathons, who has been a part of who has been taking part in hackathons, who has been contributing to the community. So they want somebody who is an overall individual with all these things in one go. So that makes your profile looks better for these particular programs. So whether you are, like, there are different communities, right? If you are not sure whether your college has those all, like, there are communities for developer student clubs by Google, there are communities by Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors, there's a community by different companies, like Postman has its own community. Different companies have their own communities, and make sure that you're part of not all but one, and you contribute to that community well. Also, like, there are a lot of opportunities, and we just don't apply on those opportunities thinking that we might not end up getting one. But make sure once you apply for that opportunity, you get to learn a lot of things on. If you're applied for that opportunity and, for example, you're rejected, so you will see now ki I have applied, I have written these things in my application last time. So what all things I can improve this time so that I might get selected. So every application is also a good experience. So make sure you apply for as many opportunities as possible. And for these fellowships, these points that I've mentioned are most important. Also, like, whenever there's a fellowship application, reach out to people who have already been selected for that fellowship in the previous years. So they would be most suitable to answer for that particular fellowship, like what all things they did. You can also get your answers reviewed for, like, there are a lot of essay type questions in these fellowship programs. So you should make your answers get reviewed by these people who have already got those fellowships. And in those answers also, it's not just that your success stories are there. Even you can mention your rejection stories also and how you coped up with that. So that makes your application a bit different from others. Like everybody has written, I have achieved this, I have got this, I have got this so and so ranks, I have won this hackathon and so maybe you can mention about your rejection story and how you overcome that. So that makes your application a little different, and you might have a better chance of getting selected. So this is something that I would suggest.
Okay, sir, great. And we also had a question like in our interviews, if we are stuck at a point, so the interviewer throws us a question and we aren't aware what the topic is. So how do we handle those situations?
I would say you just don't say randomly, because for example, if there's something in data structure algorithm, so definitely you can try that, right? Even if you might not end up with a very efficient approach, you might end up with something that satisfies the interviews, and who knows, you might get to the efficient approach right sitting there. So for data structure algorithms or questions that involve problem solving, you should not. You should definitely try and ask for hints to the interviewers if you're not aware of the thing, because they want to see that you have a positive attitude towards unknown problems, right? That's one thing. Secondly, if there is something out of theory that you haven't already studied, so you might say that you might uh, like answer it with something that you are not aware of that particular theory topic. Maybe you can go through that in future, but make sure if there is something related to problem solving, related to your DSLO questions, you should definitely give it a try.
Yes, sir. As we are short on time, the last question that we have is I've been seeing a term called system design over LinkedIn post. So I wanted to ask, what is it and how important is it?
From your like, for example, you're visiting for internships or placement. So there are two types of design, like low-level design and high-level design, right? Once you are sitting for these internships and placements, basically the questions that you might be asked are of low-level design. So when I say low-level design, what exactly is there in low-level design is how you are well versed with your concept of OOPS only. Like for example, you might be asked to design an elevator. So you know how to build a class, how to build a class elevator, what all member functions will that class have, what all member data members will that class have. So you need to design that class, and you need to show that to the interviewers. So that is basically low level designing, and there are different examples that you will find on different sources, like on YouTube also. There are different people who have been teaching design. So make sure you watch those tutorials, and they are more than sufficient for internships and placement, because you just want to know how to answer those type of questions. Like if somebody asks you to design Twitter, to design Snapchat, to design any of these platforms. So the thing is, you should be basically aware about the architectures, how you are going to explain that thing, and you will not be asked very tough questions based upon system design. And very few companies ask. Like nowadays, companies have started asking. Some more companies have started asking system design, but for most of the companies, system design is not asked as of now.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much. As we end the session, I would like to thank Arsh Goyal for such an amazingly insightful session. It was an absolute honor to have you here at Code Club Cummins College. So I would like to request everyone to switch on their camera so we can have some snaps of this amazing session.
Like if there are any more questions, like I'll share my social media links. You can
yes,
just follow me there, and we can have a little bit more discussion on if there is something, right?
Yes, sir. I'll also mail the students your LinkedIn handles.
Sure.
So guys, would you please switch on your cameras? Just a second. Yes, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you. See you in some other session. And
Yes,
Thank
all
you,
the
sir,
best.
for coming here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.